I am Dr. Anjutama, Associate Professor in Physics, MSJ College, Bharatpur. The topic which we are going to discuss today for MSc classes in classical electrodynamics is Green's theorem. Phi of x is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral of rho of x dash over x minus x dash d cube x dash. The equation for calculating the scalar potential is a good solution if electrostatic problems always involved localized, discrete or continuous distribution of charge with no boundary surfaces. Means we can use this equation for solving the electrostatic problems without any boundary surfaces or boundary conditions. However, many of the problems of electrostatics involve finite regions of space with or without charge inside and with prescribed boundary conditions on bounding surfaces. For such electrostatic problems, this equation enough will not be able to solve the electrostatic boundary value problems, and this equation becomes inconsistent or inconvenient, of course, for such situations where there are some prescribed boundary conditions. So for such situations we need something else so as to solve electrostatic problems where the boundary conditions exist. A new mathematical tool to handle the boundary conditions was developed by George Green, and this follows a simple application of the divergence theorem. The divergence theorem states that volume integral of divergence of vector field A d cube x is equal to surface integral of this vector field A dot n cap dA given by equation 1, and it applies to any well behaved vector field A defined in the volume V bounded by the closed surface S. Now let us say that this vector field A is given as vector field A is equal to phi del of psi, where phi and psi, these are arbitrary scalar fields. In that case, using the value of this vector field A, we have to rewrite equation 1. So what we need is divergence of this vector field. So the divergence of vector field A can be written as del dot phi del psi, which is equal to phi del square psi plus del phi del psi as equation 2. And we will also need vector A dot n cap. So this will become phi del psi dot n cap, or we can say phi, and this is normal derivative of psi as equation 3. So this curly by curly n is the normal derivative at the surface S and directed outwards from inside the volume V. Now using equation 2 and 3, in equation number 1 we just get the Green's first identity, and this is given as volume integral of phi del square psi plus del phi dot del psi d cube x is equal to surface integral of phi and normal derivative of psi dA, and this is known as Green's first identity. So if we rewrite equation 4 by interchanging phi and psi, so what will be the change? The change is in the form of equation 5, that is the volume integral of psi del square phi plus del psi dot del phi d cube x is equal to surface integral over surface S of psi and the normal derivative of phi dA. So now, after getting equation 5 by interchanging the positions of psi and phi, we subtract equation 5 from equation 4. So after subtracting, what we get is integral of within brackets phi del square psi minus psi del square phi d cube x is equal to surface integral over surface S, and within square brackets we have phi normal derivative of psi minus psi and normal derivative of phi dA. And this equation 6 is known as Green's second identity, or this is what we call as Green's theorem. So Green's theorem consists of two set of equations. One is known as Green's first identity and the other is known as Green's second identity, and these two equations help us to solve the electrostatic problems where some boundary conditions have been imposed or some bounding surfaces have been given. So the Poisson differential equation for the potential can be converted into an integral equation if we choose a particular psi. So that particular psi will be 1 by capital R, which is equivalent to 1 over x minus x dash, where x is the observation point and x dash is the integration variable. And further, if we put phi equal to, let me call it as capital phi, the scalar potential, and we can use equation del square phi is equal to minus 4 pi rho, or we can write it as minus rho by epsilon naught, that is the Poisson differential equation, or del square of 1 by r will be equal to minus 4 pi del of x minus x dash. So using these from equation 6, what we get now, using these new values for psi and phi, where psi here is 1 by r capital R, which is equal to 1 over x minus x dash, and where small phi is equal to capital phi, and using these Poisson differential equations, the equation 6 becomes integration over the volume V minus 4 pi capital phi of x dash del of x minus x dash plus 1 by r epsilon naught rho of x dash square brackets closed d cube x dash, and this is equal to surface integral of capital phi and normal derivative with respect to n dash of 1 by r minus 1 by r and normal derivative with respect to n dash of capital phi dA dash. So this is the equation we get after substituting the values in Green's second identity. And if we say that the point x lies within the volume V, then we just obtain capital phi of x is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught volume integral of rho of x dash over capital R d cube x dash plus 1 by 4 pi, and this is the surface integral of 1 by r and normal derivative of capital phi minus capital phi and normal derivative of 1 by r square bracket closed dA dash, and this is obtained as equation 7. However, if we say that the point x lies outside the surface S, in that situation the left hand side of this equation 7 will be 0, because if x lies outside the surface S, then this phi of x will be 0. So the left hand side of equation 7 will become 0. And from this equation 7, what we can say is that if surface S goes to infinity and the electric field on S falls off faster than R inverse, then the surface integral vanishes. So if the surface integral vanishes, then the equation 7 reduces to the familiar result for scalar potential as we obtained previously, because in equation 7 we will have only the first part on right hand side and the surface integral will vanish. Now one more thing what we can say is that for a charge free volume, the potential everywhere inside the volume, such as that will be a solution of Laplace equation, is expressed in this equation 7 in terms of the potential and its normal derivative only on the surface of the volume. So when we look on this equation 7, what surprises us is that this result is not a solution to a boundary value problem, but it just gives us an integral statement, because the arbitrary specification of both phi and its normal derivative is just an over specification of the problem. So in further articles we will consider it that in such circumstances when we say that both the potential and its normal derivative both are occurring in equation 7, that means just giving an integral statement, so we will find some other ways to solve the boundary value problems.